Steve. We're off the heels of the Jared Curtis commitment on Monday. Now we turn our focus to Jackson Cantwell. He's going to make a decision in under 5 days. Next Tuesday, well, this coming Tuesday, Jackson Cantwell comes off the board, but first he's got a big visit to take.
Yeah, he'll be at Georgia this weekend. Georgia's obviously my prediction on the On3 RPM, but with his commitment coming on May 12th, final offers are being put on the table. Our colleague Pete Nakos reporting that Miami offer coming in at a $2 million guarantee per year. So that is a lot of cheddar on the table, and certainly an enticing opportunity when you also account for the fact that Mario Cristobal and his staff have emphasis on the offensive line position. They have a track record of development with first-year offensive tackles getting on the field and doing well historically, from guys like Jonah Williams to Penei Sewell to now Francis Mauigoa. Cantwell's been to Miami a couple times. And again, the Hurricanes have put an enticing NIL opportunity on the table for Jackson Cantwell, and nobody can sleep on Miami down the stretch here. This Georgia visit is a chance to get back on campus, a place he's incredibly familiar with, around a coaching staff he loves, a program he definitely fits in. He loves the offensive line pedigree, the stage that Georgia plays on every Saturday, like-minded players, coaching staff. He really feels at home with Georgia, and I think this visit will answer all of his questions and get everything in order from an off-field infrastructure standpoint as well. So I still am riding with Georgia, but I do think that Miami is very much in there. Oregon rounds out the top three, and then you have Missouri, Michigan, and Ohio State being the three other programs that Jackson Cantwell is strongly considered. And as he told me 2 weeks ago, as he said in the On3 chat during Jared Curtis's announcement, I still don't know where I'm going. Yeah. He is going through his final dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's. I think he loves Georgia a ton. And if Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs are able to be competitive and exciting from an infrastructure standpoint, I think they're winning from the old school front standpoint. And so we'll see if they can get it home this weekend, because Miami is going to fight till the absolute finish, till Jackson Cantwell announces his decision at Nixa High School. Mario Cristobal, Miami, they're pushing as hard as they can to land this elite point of attack player.
Yeah, I mean, back behind me in the On3 offices, it's buzzing. There's some buzz around Miami. So this visit to Georgia with the Nakos report of $2 million offer on the table, does Georgia need to match that on this trip? Is that what some of these conversations are going to be about?
I'm not sure they have to match it, but I think that you got to be in the ballpark, because if you're not in the ballpark, it adds up over 3 years. You might be sort of close in year one, but when you add it up and compound it over years 2 and 3, all of a sudden that's a lot of money. And so you start thinking about your future and the opportunity to get off to such a terrific financial start to your young life. It's very exciting. And again, it's not like Miami is just a program that can offer money and not any kind of track record of development at the position. Mario Cristobal has been around some of the best college offensive linemen over the course of his career, and he has that back pocket in his back pocket as well. And him and Coach Mirabal, the offensive line coach, have such a great working relationship. You know, Miami just had the number one pick in the NFL draft. They're a program that has gotten better in each season since they've been there. But they needed to overcome some things to get into the race with Georgia as well. And so they have done that from a package standpoint. But Georgia, as we've talked about in this cycle, we've seen Georgia be more aggressive and more willing to compete from an infrastructure standpoint than they have in the past. And that allowed them to win out for Jared Curtis, in my opinion. And they're in a really good spot for Jackson Cantwell. They just have some major competition, which is what would be expected with the number one player in the country.
Yeah. So just in a matter of a week, Jared Curtis goes from recruited to recruiter. This weekend, Jared Curtis will be on campus with Jackson Cantwell. How close are these two? Have they bumped into each other across these recruiting visits? Do they know each other? Do they ever communicate?
Well, Jackson Cantwell is one of the friendliest prospects in the class. So if you talk to him once or twice, you already feel like you're friends with him, which is probably where I would put Jared Curtis and his relationship. I mean, obviously, they have a lot in common from the standpoint of the schools they were looking at, to the opportunities they have from an NIL standpoint, to the magnitude and the excitement around their recruitments from diehard college football fans. But they're making their own decision. Now, Jared Curtis committing to Georgia shows Jackson Cantwell the caliber of quarterback that he could potentially play with in his class. And so recruiting's a game of inches. You never know how they're going to stack up in your favor. And being around guys that you want to play with is certainly exciting. But for Cantwell, it's getting back over to Georgia. He knows what kind of coaching he's going to get. He knows everything about the program, loves Kirby Smart, loves Coach Searles, loves what they've done during the Kirby Smart era in Athens. It's, getting them final I's dotted, them T's crossed, seeing where you're going to live, what that potential looks like, the potential that players in their earnings are playing at a place like Georgia, what that looks like specifically for him. I think that Georgia is willing to go as far as they've gone for any prospect in the Kirby Smart era for Jackson Cantwell. But Miami has thrown down a heck of an opportunity, and we'll see where Georgia stands coming out of the weekend.
All right. Georgia fans, what do you think? Talk to us, comment section. What do you think Jackson Cantwell's going to do when he decides in just under 5 days? Let us know.